Oh, it's going to work now. I tried it a minute ago. Welcome to the doghouse. This is just another old deal of old man's BS corner. Whatever comes out of my mouth comes out of my mouth. Could be from the past, could be from the future. You never know. It's always fun just to sit around and BS. It don't have to be negative, it don't have to be positive. It just has to be kind of weird in some ways, but that's okay. Of course, all my brothers and sisters also thought I was on the weird side, but when you're number 11 on the list, you get to do things that the older ones don't. Not that you're supposed to, don't get me wrong, because you get in trouble for it, but that's okay. I sure hope you guys are having a great day, and I hope you guys are out enjoying yourselves and enjoying your family this day. We only got so much time on this earth to let our families know how much we love them and your friends how much you love them. It's just fun to be on here. I know I don't get a lot of live responses until later on in the day when people go and look through stuff, which is okay. I don't mind that a bit. You know, when you're as old as I am, and there's a lot of people older than me, I want to talk first until I get people on here. How in the heck come when it comes to Doge, people are so mad at Elon? And I own nothing Elon has to do with as far as products that I know of or use, anything to do with him. So this is not from a biased opinion. This guy went in there and what he did on Social Security, and it's still going on. How many people of you think that it's okay for him to go out there and do what he's doing? I think it's okay. But I've heard a lot of people out there that get on there and is so upset with him for what he is doing. The government don't have money. It is our money, not the government's money. I don't care whether you're left, right, in the middle, it don't matter. Tell me how many people you know that's 110 plus, over 3 million checks go out to them people. And that is okay. But you are criticizing them for doing what they're doing. And yet, if I were to go in your home and steal money off your table, you would say that was theft. Isn't it theft the other way too? Isn't that not theft when it's your money? The government don't have money. It's our money and do what they're doing. I just can't believe some people 150 years old getting checks. Interesting that they do, but it's not right. Of course, if I'm 120, 150 years old, yeah, I might need a check. You know, it's just unreal that stuff. That's all I was going to say about that. That's just what I want to talk about first. I'm going to get into some other stuff too because it's just a BS corner. Is the fact I know a person on here, some of you know Super Dave. He gets on his channel, and how many people out there are false false flagging things he says, which comes out not to be true, but it goes down as until it's taken care of as a false flag. I wish, especially on YouTube, what they would do when that happens. So many of them, you do so many, then you automatically get some type of caller, whatever caller it is. It don't matter. Let's say it's a blue collar. You get so many, you get stamped with a blue collar for false flagging stuff. Then after so many, you get a yellow one. It can be any color, like I said, a yellow one because of your false flagging stuff. And that yellow one goes on your profile. Anytime you're on there, it automatically shows up, regardless. What this would do, and I know nobody else will probably agree with it, but what this would do, even for YouTube, they could look at that and go, oh, this guy is doing this. It would be able to come up these people are doing, whether it's true or false, because there is true stuff that goes on out there that needs taken care of. But this would work to the creators out there and the YouTube. They can say, oh, look, yellow, he keeps doing these false flag remarks. And at some point, they should be able to go to that person doing that and say, you have one more time to put out a false flag against this person or these people, and your channel will be eliminated or shut down the first time for 2 weeks. Then the next time, a month. And the next time, your channel is gone. That's what the false flag ones. Now, I don't like YouTube's algorithms because you can say something that has nothing to do with what their algorithm is talking about, and they will flag you for that, which I think is wrong. They need a real person to look at it, not just run a computer. Now, when you have false copy strikes, and I'm not talking about legitimate copy strikes here, when you have false copyright strikes against you, this should happen. The person doing them, one, that you get a couple of them, and they're obviously false copyright strikes. YouTube notifies you and do a caller again on these, a red, green, or whatever color, and say, you're in violation of these guys' rights. What you're putting out there has been proven false. Then, about the fourth or fifth time this happens, give another caller and say, your account is suspended and for 2 weeks. And after that 2 weeks, it has another caller. So that caller shows up every time he's on air or on his page. This way, once again, YouTube can look at that and say, hey, this guy's doing false copyright strikes, or this guy's doing false flags against a person. And they would know it, and the people out there would know it, and it would be a whole lot better. Well, thanks. But if we get into the rhythm, or even YouTube and these other channels, it's just not here to call out the ones out there that are doing wrong. And when they come up and they see that caller on their profiles or when they talk, it helps the person talking to them and it helps YouTube. This would be helpful for YouTube in so many ways, and it would help others too. It's not a big deal as far as when you go on somebody's channel, let's say like they do with Super Dave, they got a bunch of false flags out there. You see this caller, and when you're on that person's channel, you see that he likes to do false flags, then you know what type of person this is and what he is doing. And that is good. That's all I'm going to say about that. I just thought that would be a good way to handle things. Personally, I think it'd be a good way to handle things. And YouTube does need to improve their algorithm deal because sometimes you can say a word and it comes across not, like I said, what was really said or being said. And that's wrong because then the creator's getting punished for something that don't really exist. They did that to me once, and it had nothing to do with it. What I said had nothing to do with the medical end that they said it did. Even when I appealed it within 5 minutes, it come back. So no way did somebody look at that in 5 minutes. But that's okay. That's a learning deal. But still, that could be corrected by YouTube if they so desired to. No, I don't expect them to talk to me at all on it, but it did exist. And that is 100% nothing against YouTube, by the way. It's just things that are happening. YouTube has been really good to me, and I'm not criticizing YouTube at all. It's just things I've seen out there. Other things I want to talk about, what kind of things have you guys done in the past that you like or dislike? Growing up, we all have certain things we do and don't do. And when we get older, we should know better. And sometimes we still do them. It is interesting how we live and where we live as to what we do. That's like where I grew up on a ranch, a couple of different ranches, but we had a creek that went through it. It was called Spring Creek. We always called it Creek. Lived on a ranch called Badger Creek. We always called it Creek. And all the fishermen would come in and they said the same thing. They didn't use creek. You go like Florida and stuff like that, and that's how they say it. And by the way, that is how it's pronounced. But sometimes people change things around, which is good. We had a ranch, our guy my dad worked for had a piece of ground. At one time, it was called uh, Bird Ranch. All it was a great big old field, and all the guy that used it for was hay. Years past, it was something else. And there was a canyon called Bird Canyon. It will always come out Bird Ranch Canyon, and that wasn't the name. That's just what people would say. So sometimes people will say stuff, and they know it's not what it is, but it's used to how they're saying it. And there's nothing wrong with that. We have to realize just because an area you're from is different, High Road King, than another area. Like I said, I grow up calling Spring Creek Spring Creek. That's just the way it was. Run through both ranches. Lived at Badger Creek Ranch, or should say Creek, with the way it's said with most people. And it's, like I said, it's the right way to say it. But nobody said that around there. It was always Creek. And around here, you can call it pop, soda. It don't matter. In some areas, they get offended if you say it a different way. Around here, pop is pop. Some people say, "Oh no, it's got to be called soda." No, it depends on the area. I knew. I went to school with a guy. There, well, kids and him and his brother, his family. They called their last name Gee, Gee, where we were at. And this is the same family, but his family had a kind of a construction company in Ohio or somewhere, and it was called G. Pronounced the same way, same family. They pronounced the last name different. Another family I went to school with, it was called Hi Debbie. They called Trauber, the ones I went to school with. Well, in the valley, about 100 miles away, their relatives had a store, and they said it was Trober. They would not say Trauber, it was Trober. And the other family members, it was just the opposite. I always thought that was kind of funny when that happens within the family. And, and you know, we all probably see stuff like that. I want to show you some pictures, a couple, make it boring. That's my mom and dad. She was 5'1", pure redhead. This was taken on the ranch. I miss them. I just thought I'd show that picture because it's interesting in things we see in the past. I don't have a lot of pictures of my family, but I do of that. I have a picture of, and it was too big for here. My sister that just passed away in Hastings, Florida, and her family, but it was kind of too big to do that with. Yeah, yeah. Here's another picture. I love showing pictures at times. This is when they were dang light was a little older. I guess we all get old. Yep, she was 5'1", pure redhead. So one thing you didn't want to say around her was redheaded stepchild. That was not good. And we avoided saying that, obviously, for right reasons. But as kids, sometimes you do stupid things. Unfortunately, we have to learn. Here's another picture. That's one of me with a tomcat, a Siamese tomcat. I tell you what, that cat would go attack a dog. The dogs were so scared of that cat, they wouldn't even come around at all. They'd see that cat and they'd go the other way. It and on the ranch, you know, we did a lot of stupid things. Now, I want to show you another picture of me, and this is 100% not an afro. You'll see me with short hair. There is a reason for that. That is 100% not an afro. That is my regular hair if I let it grow out. If it went below my shoulders, it would just automatically curl up like that. And what was funny is as a young kid, like I said, I kept it short mostly because I didn't want to. I was so offended before I was in school. I'd have them curls start coming in, and these girls would come up and say, "You have such beautiful hair." I didn't want no damn girl telling me my hair was beautiful. I would get so offended by that as a kid. That's the last thing I wanted a girl to tell me is how beautiful my hair was. You know, we all and everybody else would laugh. Here's another. This is my mom and me. See the short hair? See the long hair? See why I didn't do the long hair? Well, yeah, it was a lot thicker than it is now, I'll tell you that. But we had fun like that as kids. You know, my mom, when we was at a one-room schoolhouse until I was in the third grade, she was the cook there. Yeah, one-room schoolhouse. That's how far away from a big city we lived. But then I went from third to sixth grade, I went to a two-room schoolhouse. But before that, and I still get told this or reminded of this, and I don't ever remember doing it, but obviously I did. My sister was there before my mom cooking, and for some reason, and I don't know why, but my sister had to keep track of me. My mom and dad went somewhere, which the teacher didn't care. But they were out playing tag. There was two buildings so far apart. They'd run in each building and tag against the building. And well, they felt sorry for me. And this lady and her sister grabbed me. I'm probably 4 years old, maybe. I don't think I was quite 5, but I guess they grabbed me and was helping me run to the other building, and I had to blow my nose. The one sister got, I wiped my nose right up her arm. She was so mad. Her other sister, I guess, was just laughing away at it. I don't remember that, but I get reminded that by the one lady. You know, try to help me out. I'll show you how to help me out. So she got her arm taken care of. You know, you look back on our lives before we got older. I don't want to go back as far as living it, but I like remembering things. I forgot a lot of things, but that's here and there, I guess. But living out in the middle of nowhere was some of the greatest feelings I've had in my life. Not that I don't have great feelings now. I do, and I appreciate everything I have. But certain things just happen as kids when you'll forget, and some you'll remember. I remember, and it happened a couple of different, both ranches really. When I was younger, like 3 or 4, probably 4, I'd go have my Tonka trucks under a tree. That was my best thing. Yeah, we're doing good, Debbie. I was going to answer that, but an owl, a great big old hoot owl, pure white, big eyes, would come and land in the trees, and I'd go to the house. Scared the hell out of me every time it'd do that. But eventually, I realized what it was doing. It was actually flying to the tree, standing on or sitting on the tree, watching me. Because when I would leave, it would leave. Then, when another place we lived, and it wasn't the same hoot owl, because this one was a little smaller than the other. Same exact thing. I had a place I cut out in the trees just to go play and just sit around and enjoy life. That damn thing would come and I would leave, it would leave. It was the weirdest thing when it come to birds. It, that's just what happened as a kid. I loved going fishing all the time. Grab the pole and just go. That's one good thing about living out where we did. That wasn't unusual to do that. We were actually probably less than 2 miles from the mouth of the mountains, real mountains, not a little hill. And we had fun. Growing up, we had a lot of fun. I still have fun today, even though I'm older. I enjoy myself. I enjoy the people around me. I enjoy people coming in here and looking in what I say, even though I'm a little bit boring, but that's okay. We all get to be boring. That's our right. And I got a lot of nieces and nephews. Some of them come in here once in a while. I got a couple anyway that'll come in. And I know who they are. I just don't say who they are because that's the way they wanted it. But things like that are interesting that we do. As kids, things we do. As adults, things we do. One thing as adults, we forget that young heart of ours of caring and loving others around us. Our hearts will become full of hate and not love. And that we need to go back to the innocence of us as a child, showing our love. Not that we didn't have tempers and that too, showing our love. And our love as a younger person definitely comes out more than an older person at times. Sometimes we get set in our ways when we get older. We forget that how to love like we did as younger. Because other things happening to us, we kind of leave that behind. And we shouldn't. We should love regardless of how old we are or how young we are. That's like I get on here in my shorts, and I do a lot of shorts. People will get on here, and I can say something 100% positive, nothing negative at all with it, and somebody will hate it. So you will always have haters regardless of what you put out there on here. But I love doing it. Yeah, I get haters sometimes, whether podcast or otherwise, that criticize me because I'm old and they take offense because I'm on here and I'm old. Who cares? They're going to be old one day too. But they think it's a sin to be on here because of your age. Personally, I think more people, older people, need to be on here. They can have fun, enjoy themselves, and just enjoy the people around them. There's nothing wrong with doing that. For whatever reason, we've gotten into we can't enjoy each other. And I do have younger people on here. I got a couple on here that call me their YouTube dad and stuff like that, which is all well and fine. And I don't mind that a bit. But so many are offended because of age. And I look on my deal, I get a few that are younger than me, and I get along great with them. Most people are my age or a little younger that watch this channel, which is good. They don't have to say anything or do anything, but it's just fun to be recognized like a thumbs up or whatever. People like to be recognized. I don't want to be out there and be some kind of superhero or anything like that. I don't want to be this famous YouTuber or anything like that. That's not my goal here at all. And yeah, I don't even monetize. Hours wise, I'm way short of that. But I do love my shorts I put out. And that's mainly why I got on here. This other stuff just kind of come later on, whether it's me being more comfortable or whatever the situation is. It's different now. No, I'm still going to do mostly shorts because that's what I love to do, and that's what I'm going to keep doing. But when you get older, you have different ideas, which is fine. Some of the best compliments I get, though, is from people younger, and that's good. I love that. I love the people when they come in here and just enjoy themselves. I like talking to other people. I don't get to talk to a whole lot at one time, which is fine. I go out and have coffee every morning, visit and stuff like that. Then I come back and be with my wife and enjoy life, enjoy being who I am. I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not even close. Uh, I pay my bills and that's about it. I don't have a lot of bills, so I'm not starving. I'm not on welfare. Not that I care about people being that way. Hi, Demon Cat, because sometimes we all in a pinch and need help. Like, even right now, I'm not hurting for money at all. But if my wife ever has to go, and it's a possibility one day to a rest home, then I will be hurting. But right now, I'm not. My place is paid for. We love each other and we hang out with each other. Right now, she's watching TV. I'm not a really big TV person. Some of the older shows I like, but I come out in my doghouse here because I really am not into a lot of the TV shows anymore. Just not an interest to me. So her and the coonhound and the terrier in there watching TV. Yeah, and the little terrier tries to push her up a little bit and get behind her in the chair. Always, knock it off, animal. She's always telling him that. Then the coonhound decides it can get behind the chair, her chair too, and not right behind the chair, the back of her and the front of the chair. She kind of had a little problem when the coonhound does that. I don't know why. Now back to the TV shows. I like Killing in Silence, Hogan's Heroes, and one that I didn't watch a lot but would watch was Get Smart. You know, that show actually shows we used to laugh at the phones he had and used. Boy, guess what? Maybe that wasn't so funny. They really do exist. The old shows I like. Two shows. One I didn't mind. I'd watch when my dad. We only had one TV for a while. Then I got one from my room later on. But two shows come on. It was a demand that it be watched, and that was my dad had to and mom had to watch Lawrence Welk. I'd just go in my room or go somewhere else. Lawrence Welk was the end thing. The other one was Bonanza, or Gunsmoke, I should say. Bonanza was here and there with my dad, but Gunsmoke and Lawrence Welk all the time. And that's just the way it was. You're not going to get to watch anything but that when dad and mom was watching TV. Some of the other shows we'd get to watch, and another one he'd have to watch was a John Wayne movie. If John Wayne was on TV, that was a must see watch. The reason why was this was before my mom and dad was even married. My dad worked on a ranch up in this Cooner Valley, not Cooner Valley, but this valley that's not too far from us. Well, when John Wayne first started out, he did a movie up there, a B movie. Obviously, they used all the help they could from around there to produce a movie. Obviously, it was black and white, but it's sagebrush trails or big brush trails or something like that they did up there. I can't quite remember it, but there's a scene on it where the oxen go across the creek, tips over, and that was my dad on there. That was my dad riding that out. They want John Wayne and a couple of others tried to get my dad to go be a stunt man in Hollywood. That never happened, which I am glad because I probably would not have had my dad as my dad. It wouldn't have existed if he would have took that move. Yep, my dad loved him after doing that movie. It may have been a B-rated movie, but it's still out there. And you see them oxen go over, and it's from Griggs, Idaho, or through that area. But that was my dad on there. We all get things like that happen to us. I had no idea until I was older that my dad did do that. It's interesting though that it would come on. You had to watch John Wayne, and I used to watch John Wayne too. I liked him. You know, I like uh, several of the older ones. Like I said a little earlier, here is Hogan's Heroes. I wasn't as much into Bob Crane as I was Sergeant Schultz and some of the underlings to Bob Crane there. I loved some of them actions they did. Louis LeBeau, which he was really in uh, the Jewish concentration camps. He really was in that. And loved that. Green Acres, I liked to a point. I couldn't watch it every week, but here and there, I thought it was kind of funny. Other ones I watched, Beverly Hillbillies was probably one of the better ones. Hogan's Heroes and Beverly Hillbillies, I think I watched more of. That was so great. Who knew Death Row was so smart? It was interesting watching that. Another one I watch here and there. I probably watched every episode, but through the years was Gilligan's Island. Who in their right mind would have Gilligan doing the stuff they had him doing if it was reality? He'd have been marooned on the other end of the island. But things we watch as kids and grow up changes. Now I watch the Big Bang Theory here and there, but nothing that I know that's non-existent anymore as new shows. I just don't watch them. Sometimes I'll catch one here or there because my wife has it on. I'll catch some of the older movies. I like them. Some of the newer ones too, but I just have to be in the mood to do it. Like Home Alone 1 and 2, I really liked. Uh, 3 and 4, I care less about. Things like that. Pretty Woman, I didn't mind that. But I usually like comedy movies more than I did anything else. And Westerns. Westerns was the in thing, still is for me, even though they don't make many new Westerns. It's interesting, though, what we watch then and now. TV is just boring for the most part to me. I'd rather be on here or watching clips on here or one of the other sites. It's more interesting and more informative. If you, we all have our. Some people like drama more than comedy, watching movies and that. Me, I'd rather do the comedy than a lot of the drama. There's some good drama shows out there, but with me, it's a little different. I love. I gotta go. I just want to get on here and BS on the old man's corner for a while. One day, people may even start watching it if I'm on more. The problem is, I like doing my shorts and don't do a lot of lives. I got to get better equipment if I kept doing that. Don't have the resources at the moment, but food and is a kind of a little bit more important. But I want your opinions on the thing I said earlier about even if you about how to go about the false flags and that on here, if that's really a good idea. I'd really like your opinion on that. I hope to hear more from you. I best get off of here and go do some other things. I appreciate every one of you, even if you're not going to watch now and will watch later. Thank you very much.